The
Right.
only thing I had in my pocket, because I just, I had no corporate experiences yet.
Yes.
I only had $500 in my pocket.
Yeah, you're telling me.
Landed
Yes.
in Juba with $500.
Mhm.
Got nothing, but I wanted peace of mind. I was sick of it.
Yes.
I was sick of a lot of things.
Yeah.
And when I landed, everything felt so fresh, so nice.
For sure. Mhm.
And then, lived with my mom for a little bit and
She was
decided,
there at that time in Juba.
yes, at that time in Juba. And she said, well, why don't you go find a job? I said, oh, yeah,
Right.
that's a good idea. And I applied and got an interview with the UN and to work in IT. And they said, well, we're going to pay you this much. We're going to pay you $1,500 a month, and that's US. And you get to work 9 to 5, and you do this. I said, I'll think about it. I had some days to accept the offer. I went home, thought about it, and was like, I know that kind of money was enough in Africa. That's it's good money. That's good money to help you live by. You can live under $400 in Juba those days. You could live under $400. The rate of the dollar to South Sudanese pounds was what? $1 was equal about 2.6 SSP. Yeah, and you could live easily on under 200. So I thought about it. I said, no, I could probably make more money doing something different. And I looked around. I found that there was a need for people in IT. There was a great need for it. I approached some friends to try to see if we could come up with something. Talk to a buddy of mine, Emmanuel, another Emmanuel. You know him though.
Yes.
He had a company, an IT company. And he went to Stratton, right? And then I found he was working with UN OCHA, something like that. He was doing quite well for himself. But he had a company, an IT company, but they could not. He didn't have time, of course, to run it because it's 9 to 5. And I thought about it. I said, I don't want to be that person. I don't want to work 9 to 5 in Juba. So there was a company. We formed a company. I formed a company. We registered, got the registration together. Next thing you know, I'm advertising my services. I spent the $500 I had in my pocket. I took part of that money. I spent on printing business cards, and then I got my laptop together, and I would go to a restaurant along the River Nile. I'll go to a restaurant along the River Nile, sit down with my laptop, and then I'll pay for one beer so I can use their Wi-Fi, be there using their Wi-Fi. And I joined a forum. Then I started advertising my services. And everybody I met, I gave them my card. Next thing you know, I was getting phone calls. Hey, can you come and we have this problem here. Can you come and fix it for us? I get, click, sure. I didn't have a car. I had I took the border, Senke.
Yes.
On the back of the Senke, boom. I would go to the site. I would go there, fix their problems right away. and I'll bill them right there and then. I had a professional receipt. Everything looked professional because I learned how to give good customer service in Canada. You have to learn how to do that when working, because I worked in the service industry during school time, and so I learned how to do that. So I was very professional. I used to, within a short time, I think I was making between $300 to $500 a day. Yeah.
Nice.
That was good money, which I blew.
And you decided to come back. What made you decide that you should be here instead?
Well, honestly, I was having a good life in Juba. I was beginning to get a good clientele, and I was making all these connections. I was even making connections in oil and gas. That's my line of study. But after some time, I decided to come back. I decided to come back to Canada because there were unresolved stuff that I had to deal with. First of all, I had a place here. I needed to come back, move my stuff away, right? And get that taken care of. And then at the same time, I was also, in a post. I needed to close down. I had a few things going on here in Canada that I needed to finish up first in order to not in order to go back to South Sudan for good. But when I was coming back here, around that time, there were rumors of war coming.
Oh, I see. Okay. I can understand. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, to South Sudan. And
So
it
the
did
war
happen,
situation.
right?
Okay.
2013.
Yes, it did.
Yeah. That was the last straw. I couldn't go back. I said that,
Yeah.
so the business that I started there, it just ended like that.
I see.
My plan was to come back in Canada, finish, get some tools. I wanted to open an actual office in Juba, open an office, have all the equipment I need. And that meant I needed to come back to Canada, get the equipment I need. I wanted brand new computers, maybe one or two or three. Yes, computers. And I needed equipment for a studio type of environment. I needed to put all that in a container, bring it all, ship it all back to Juba, and then begin my operation. But that didn't work out because when I came, stayed a little while trying to gather those. I bought some of those equipment, and then the war happened. That was it.
Yes.
Shattered that dream. Yeah. But I will tell you that, yes, I will tell you that Africa is really the place to be an entrepreneur.
Yeah, I've seen people that have gone back and really made it, and I still have that. In fact, I wish I went back sooner. Or
Yes.
I wish I went back and just established myself there, to be honest.
That's precisely what I was also thinking.
Because here it's like you don't feel like you don't really own anything. Like your money is just coming from hand to mouth, right?
That's right. And
and the bills you have to pay a lot of expenses.
Yeah, people are saying, people think that it's easy, but even when you're earning $100,000 a year, you're still kind of living hand to mouth in some ways.
Hand to mouth, yeah.
Hard to believe, but
yeah,
maybe you could let us know, like, do you think you would rather, do you regret some decisions, or do you think that you would make it a lot better if you were back home?
Yes, I sincerely believe that I should have stayed back home. I sincerely believe that if I had stayed back home and got that opportunity to go to the university there, maybe even without the university, I believe that I would have done better than here. And I say that because I have seen what my colleagues have been able to, or friends and colleagues have been able to, even relatives have been able to do with just a high school education. I would have, I would have started working earlier, which means I wouldn't have spent compared to the time that I spent going to school here again, because I had to start, I wasted a lot of time between high school and university, basically. I basically wasted like 4 years between high school and university almost. And so I came, and then I had to study here. And the thing that I studied here, I find that it's difficult for me to market it here. Like, it's not as marketable. I studied public policy, but the supply seems to be too high compared to the demand for public policy makers. So I'm not getting that. So as you can see, I'm on the supply side, which happens to be more than the demand. And so it's hard for me to get that job that I like, and it doesn't pay that as much because it's not the private sector. In any event, it's the public sector, and they have caps on how much they can really pay you as a public servant.
Yeah.
So, and the money that we paid doesn't go a long way because you have to spend it a lot on rent, on bills, if you have a car, on insurance. And so you don't really see the money as much. It just comes from hand to mouth.
Yeah. Yeah. And, you're right about that. Honestly, over here, you'd be making some pretty good money, even working in IT. But the money just kind of goes into one pocket and, goes
Yes,
out
and
another.
yeah, and not to mention the social connections, being connected with my family or with my friends that I had there, which I lack here, because here, I made some friends in the university, but then again, after the university, we got separated again. They went their way, I went my way, and I've moved around a lot. So I've been a rolling stone, if you would say. I think that if I had stayed back home, I really would have I've been much more successful than here.
I see. What kind of opportunities do you think you would find back home?
Well, first of all, I'm into public service, so I'm into the political. I'm in the political uh, sector, if you will, and I believe that if I was there, it would be easier for me to participate in that in the political field there than here. Here, it's very difficult for me because I'm a new immigrant, and making those connections is hard. But back home, right from high school, I know that when I expressed my interest in leadership, I always got the opportunities. But here, when I express my interest in leadership, I don't get those opportunities. You first of all, you lack inspiration because the people around you are different. What they're talking about are different. The policy issues that they're dealing about it in a different way. It's not exactly the issues that I'm used to, like straightforward issues. It's like the social issues here, they're very nuanced. There's a lot of discussions. We just mentioned the issue that you had when you said that you told somebody they were fat, and you meant that to be a compliment, but that was not taken as a compliment. I experienced the same thing even in public policy making. There's a lot of nuances around the discussions as compared to building a road, for example. The issues that I deal with end up being those issues that involve a lot of discussions and about perspective and things like that. But I wish I dealt directly with things that had to do with like building a road here, building a hospital.
Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah, but the roads have been built, the hospitals have been built, and people are now into discussions that are just nuanced, like political correctness. So I'm finding myself dealing with a lot of political correctness, which sort of kind of, it can only go so far, especially with my background in terms of being accepted as politically correct, or the person that can lead us in the political correctness field.
Yes, yeah, I think you would find that, and you're right. It's actually not just in your career, even in mine, in
Yeah,
IT. Here in Canada, a lot of things have already been done.
yeah,
So you're talking about if you're talking about software for this and that, software
mhm,
for cars, software for all kinds of servers, it's already been done, and they have
yeah,
built it. They have the latest and greatest.
mhm,
So essentially, you're not really, you as an entrepreneur has to really, really, really work out a good niche.
yeah,
Otherwise, you can't make it here.
mhm,
But back home, the stark contrast
yeah,
is that in Africa, you've got a lot of systems that have not been built yet, that have
yes,
not been set up.
yes,
And I always say this every time I'm back home, and I'm asked
mhm,
somebody who wants to come. I always say, hey, you've got all these problems here. You
mhm,
don't need a job. All you need to do is discover how to solve the problem. And I say that as somebody who also tried when I went back with
mhm,
just $500 in my pocket.
mhm,
You know, I had the opportunity to work with the UN, and get some money,
mhm,
but I didn't go that route.
yeah,
Chose instead the route of entrepreneurship.
mhm,
You know, I decided that I wanted to just start my own thing
yeah,
because there was a need. There was a need and a demand for that. I knew
yes,
there are problems everywhere.
yeah,
In Juba at that time, you had problems with printers. You had problems. People didn't know how to set up the network.
yeah,
People did not know how to troubleshoot the network. People did not know how to set up different kind of equipment.
mhm,
And as an IT guy,
mhm,
that was prime opportunity. I saw it and I said to myself, if I could only just give them my card,
yeah,
call me. If there's a problem, call me. Precisely. That's what I did.
yeah.
Yeah.
So how does that make you feel in terms of like raising kids here? Uh, like what can you raise them up to be so that they're more marketable, not just marketable, but generally successful in this country? I mean, knowing that they were born here and all that, this is their country. Uh, how do you raise them up to be successful in this country?
Yeah, in general, so I have two boys of my own,
Mhm.
and
And I have
the
I have
way I
one boy.
raised
I
them.
have one boy just for the record. Yeah,
Yeah, you have one boy. I have one. I have two boys,
yeah,
and the way I raised them is that I basically I want them to do very well
hmm
in STEM. By
STEM.
STEM, I
Good.
mean the science, mathematics,
Yeah,
uh, technology, engineering, mathematics.
yeah.
I want them do the foundations well. I want them to
Okay.
do math well,
hmm
do the English well, so
Yeah,
that they can communicate.
yeah,
When they do those things well,
yeah.
they will be able to later on in life get into
hmm
the right fields. And the thing is, the way I see, if they go, let's say, to social science, it's really
hmm
competitive, really, really highly competitive. You need
Yeah.
you need a minimum of a master's degree to get a job with the government. That's
hmm
a satisfactory job with the
Yeah,
government. And
yeah,
even when you do, you still are not making as much, you know.
yeah. There's a cap to how much you can make,
There's a
really.
cap,
Yeah,
yes. Even though it's a satisfactory career,
yeah,
it is really hard to advance. That and the arts.
yeah,
I I I did an elective in the arts. One of the
yeah,
because every person in engineering and computer science and any science
yeah,
student gets to do an elective.
yeah.
And I did that, and some of those things you can really learn on your own.
Yes.
You can learn on your own, but you can really learn, let's say,
You
uh,
know,
how to program. You can learn also on your own these days. It's happening.
You could,
But some
if you're talented, yes.
you can't learn how to build a road on your own. You have to be,
No, not on your own, yeah.
yeah, you have to be shown. So
Depends on you, depends on how you use your talent. I don't know.
yeah,
I think the advice that I got, I remember somebody was telling me when I was just arriving here, one of my grand aunts was telling me, study. I remember her words were like, study either computer science or agriculture. Now, I was not into agriculture at that time, but now I realize that agriculture is very important. But I was not into agriculture at that time, so that was out of the question.
yeah,
Computer science, I tried it, but I don't have the talent for it. And then so I went for the things that I thought I had talent in. But again, as I said, those things are marketing them is difficult right now. So how are you realizing your kids' talent in this environment? Are you putting them through?
yeah. I'm actually
Like
so
you're just testing them out in different, like watching them,
yes.
keeping an eye
So
on them to see how they perform and all that?
yeah, for example, through all these games, I buy them. I bought some certain types of games.
Yeah,
Some of them involve building
yeah,
structures.
yeah,
And I noticed that my elder one who was 10, I
yeah.
noticed that he's very creative,
Hmm.
he's very interested in building systems. He wants to build this, to do that, and do this.
Yeah.
Very little, he does very little things
Hmm.
that make me think that he's gonna be a good engineering student at one point. He's going to be very good because that's how when your brain thinks that way,
Yeah.
how to connect systems, how to
Hmm.
build systems and tear them apart, um, you are going to succeed in that area. So I guide him to do well in math, to do well in sciences. So I always bring up subjects, topics around
Hmm.
those areas to encourage him.
Yeah.
My younger one, I noticed that he's more interested in pictures and photos, and he
Mm.
likes to take video. He's
Mm.
interested in people, what
Mm.
people have to say, and when I see that, I'm like, this guy might have a talent in media. He might have. So I encourage
Yes.
him with those gadgets, and
Yeah.
I even give him my drone to fly,
Mm.
adult drone.
Yes. Yes.
Controls it very well. He's
Nice.
careful with it, and
Hmm.
he takes very good shots.
Yeah.
And so with time, I think I'll discover more of what
Right.
makes them who they are.
Yeah.
I want them to get into a field that would be giving them satisfactory either employment or entrepreneurship.
Yes.
The rest,
Especially entrepreneurship. Yes.
yeah, the rest they can learn on their own. And even now with your programming, you can learn on your own. You don't really need to go to school for that.
Yeah. But
And
how do
start your own
you,
thing.
yeah, and how do you get them to fit in? Because now I think the reason why I send him to school, or I would want him to be going to school, is that he's able to socialize and fit in and all that kind of thing. Do you think that's going to be a challenge? Like, do you see a challenge? Yeah, so I was talking about how you get them to socialize, because that, to me, I keep an eye in the sense that, like, how do I get them to make sure that they can fit in the society here, For us, it was a big challenge, remember, because we're coming in here just to join a university, and it's a different society. Fitting in was been a challenge for me.
Yeah, that's true. It's a challenge to fit in. I think my boys are not gonna find any issue at all fitting in to this culture here in North America culture,
Yeah.
because they've been born into it.
Yes.
So for them, it's really easy.
Yeah.
However, I think I just need to guide them on how to fit in to the culture back home, because
Okay.
they do have roots at home.
Roots at home. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I try
Speaking
to
of
teach
roots.
them. Yeah, I
Yeah.
try to teach them some small languages.
Yes.
Try to encourage them in Arabic and Swahili, in
Okay.
their own mother tongue. I
Okay.
think their mom is doing the same as well.
Okay. Good.
So I also try to make sure they learn about Africa. They learn
Hmm.
about the geography and stuff like that. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Great. That's wonderful. Yeah. And so I found that to be the challenge here, that even though I might have the hard skills, what they call soft skills are the difficult ones to develop, at least in my mind, or at least in my experience. I find that the so-called soft skills that that they don't teach us in the university, and which these kids here seem to have already developed by the time they go to university. They've already been working, summer jobs and things like that. So
yes,
they've been tested.
Yes, and it's also because of the way the school system here is different. From the I don't know what your experience is or what you think about this, but I think the school system here really teaches kids how to express themselves, to be very expressive, and they're not punished for that. For us in Africa, you don't challenge an elder. I was a bit shocked in my classrooms when I was in my first year university to find that some kid would raise up their hand and challenge the professor.
Right.
Say, no, I don't agree with the way this one is done. Why is this one done this way? Why are these things like this? Shouldn't it be like this? And the professor would not get mad. Professor would explain, oh, look, by the way, it's like this. It's supposed to be like this. Let me show you how. And then say, if you want more, come to my office.
Yeah.
We don't have that. I mean, in most African countries, it's like, top down.
It's top down and just copycat. Yes.
Copycat. Yes, that's the problem we have in the continent. They really need to improve the education. Over in the West, I realize there's more. There's more group work. More teamwork. People work in teams. You have to
encouraged to work in teams. Yes.
Yes, and there's presentations. You have to present your idea.
Yeah.
In every single, I've had many from my first year onwards. I've had presentations every week.
Yeah.
Of my idea.
Did you find that you are in the group work? Did you find your ideas being accepted easily, or did you find it a challenge to express your own ideas?
No, I found
among your peers.
Yeah, I found it would be acceptable. It's usually accepted easily. I would not say.
I mean, you are but you are in the hard sciences, right? Like you're not in the soft.
Yeah, and the thing is with the science,
you're not in the social sciences. You are in the hard.
With the sciences, is always fact-based.
Fact-based.
You can't. You have to accept whether you like it or not.
Yeah.
Somebody states a fact. It's a fact. And the answers are there, and the logic is there. If logic is correct, there's nothing they can say. They give you whatever marks.
Yeah, you get it.
The only thing is in the sciences we had to your conclusions matter, because when your conclusions, you did the experiment here. And then your conclusion, you're making a conclusion that is not consistent with the experiment. That's where they catch you. That's where they question your methods. They question many things along that line, or your results. Let's say you did the experiment here. Your results are inconsistent. They kind of, they hover around certain. They're not what is expected.
Yeah.
They will not take it lightly. They will question you. And you have to justify why you got the results you got.
Yes.
And why you think that those results matter more.
Yeah.
But I think in your field, you have to argue out.
You have to argue it out, and it's always, there's no right or wrong answer, as they like to say.
Oh, yeah. So in the sciences, there's wrong. And
there is a wrong answer and there is a right answer in your type of sciences.
Yes, there's it's not necessarily wrong.
Which I wish I had talent in, but but in high school I had talent in it, and then I don't know what happened when I came to university. Maybe because I chose a different. I don't know. I just don't know what happened, because I chose what I was interested in as compared to what I chose what I was interested in as compared to what would be most beneficial for me.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't actually, honestly, I never thought about getting a job or anything like that when I was choosing the sciences.
Yeah.
For me, it was just interesting. I remember back in high school, we used to, our high school had a very strong science foundation, and we
Okay.
used to have a science competition
Mm-hmm.
every year,
Mm-hmm.
which was, I think, for those of you that went to studied in Nairobi or Kenya, we used to call it the Science Congress, something
Okay.
like that. Yeah, it's a national competition. It's a national competition for sciences.
Right.
And for those in high school, and you have to
Yeah.
make a project around a problem that's focused on a theme. And for me, I found that quite intriguing right from the get-go. I always thought of problems to solve.
Right.
And presented in Science Congress. I participated in that process, even went up to like a provincial level. We failed in national. We didn't proceed to national. So,
right.
But science to me was just a way to solve certain very interesting projects, problems that are occurring in society. I never thought about jobs. It never occurred to me that, hey, maybe I would get a job one day doing this and that. No. Even in university, that never occurred to me.
Yes.
Mine was just, hey, let's figure out this problem, and then let's find whatever results we find. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So it depends on, like, early on, if your interest was the way mine was to solve. I considered problems interesting.
Yes. Interesting. Yes. Interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Like
Yeah.
early on, I used to play around with
But it's
the radio parts of the radio, try to build things. I would tear apart the motor,
yeah.
the motor of a radio and
Right.
build things with it, or build cars or turning parts.
Yes.
That's how I got to learn about sensors and stuff like that. So that thing really intrigued me. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
one of the one of the things that I find here is I think you mentioned that it's easier to challenge people here, but at the school it's one thing, but at work I find it.
Our work is one thing, man.
At work is a different thing altogether, because I tend to be one of those that challenges a lot, and at work that is not doesn't seem to be welcomed. At least in my field, it doesn't seem to be welcomed.
It's the same here. Well, because also as a minority, because
Yeah.
you're a minority. As a minority, yes, I think they don't seem to like it too much.
Yes.
When you're challenging the system, and there is a certain bias.
There is that bias, yeah.
Yeah, there's a certain bias towards kind of rejecting your idea.
And
Yes.
usually when something like that doesn't sit well with me, I challenge it right away. It doesn't matter what context or what environment I'm in, whether I'm with my people from back home or
then they think
here.
you're combative.
Yeah, that you're combative.
You're militant.
Yeah.
This
So
is
that
really
is
militant black man.
Yeah, which is the mindset that I have, and maybe that would present challenges for me even back home.
That is what led me to the African Renaissance.
Yes.
Where I reached a point I decided to change. I was thinking of changing my name even.
Altogether.
Yes, just using my middle name and my last name.
And your last.
Which, because they were not Christian names.
Yeah.
And then started discovering more.
Yeah.
About the struggles of those black read some of the books, by some of the great black writers. And you find, like, when you're in the West, that is the time when you find for the first time
Yeah.
you're actually Black.
Yes.
I'd never had the concept in my mind when I was in Africa that I was Black.
Yeah, you're not the first one to say that. I've heard people say that. Yeah.
Yeah. It was the first time I realized I was. And there were some things that come with it and the challenges that you face as a Black person.
Yes.
You know, and so if you're coming to North America, of course you have to realize that the thing is I find with Canada, there is racism, but it is subtle.
It is subtle, yeah.
It's pushed down under the carpet. You know, people come at you with clenched teeth.
Yeah, you don't see the full.
And it looks like they're smiling, but
they're not. Yeah,
they are not smart. They don't want to smile, but they want to pretend. Yeah, like
true.
that. Yeah.
Yeah. So in my field, there, like I've done some great work for at least what I consider to be my best effort. Having put my best effort for work that is accepted, like the work is taken, but then somewhere along the line, I lose the opportunity altogether. Like the opportunity to continue is taken away from me, but they've co-opted my work already. Like they've used my work. I've done the bulk of work for them, but now somebody else wants to be the one who sort of claims accountability for that work, or maybe not accountability is the word, but somebody else wants to claim the credit for that work generally. That's
Yeah.
what, yeah.
Yeah, that happens in the corporate world. You're going to find yourself,
Yeah.
In that as a man, a person of color.
Yeah.
You're going to find yourself in that type of a situation.
Yeah.
You kind of have to just navigate through it.
Yeah.
Because and these problems, you would not run into this kind of issues if Africa, let's say, was a good, many countries were okay.
Yeah.
You probably wouldn't have to run into this kind of issues. So it's just because back home the infrastructure is still not developed, and the thing is, a lot of people are also very short-minded.
Yes.
Africa, they think too short. It's like
Yeah.
they don't think about building future relationships. Like when I went back home, building a house.
Yeah.
In Juba, and I was doing the finishing. I was buying materials.
Yeah.
Buying materials from Nairobi.
Yes.
And transporting the materials to South Sudan.
Yes.
And then I have to hire engineers and hire laborers.
Yes.
To finish the job, but you find that people steal from you.
Yes.
People steal from you, or people don't do a good job.
Yeah.
It's just there's a sense that, hey, we should take advantage of this person. They seem to be coming from abroad or something like that. Take advantage of them. That it is people are so short-minded. They don't think that I am developing a relationship with you right now.
Yeah.
This business deal we have here, you being my supplier for this good, or you building a house for me, I am building a relationship with you.
Yeah.
Your relationship is based on a reputation. And I will one day have to talk about your reputation to someone else.
Yes.
And if I say that this guy didn't do a good job for me, he stole from me, then you lose the opportunity.
Yes.
They don't think like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I find.
It's
Maybe
true, yeah.
in Africa, people have to start to stop.
So, so speaking of plans, outlook, is your outlook like? Well, I know the kids are now here for me as well as for you. what does it look like? What does the future look like? Are we
I
going?
honestly
Are we
think
continue working here and staying here, or
well,
is it
the future is in Africa.
the
This
future is
is
in Africa?
there's no argument there. I think the future is in Africa. I think the Western world has built everything they can build. Now they're having arguments around things that are socially questionable, mostly social things, that are not even, they're not talking about the basic necessities anymore. They're talking about
not basic necessities anymore.
gender and stuff like that. These are things
Yes.
that in Africa, these are things that are not of importance as much.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
people are still talking about the basic necessities. So
Mhm.
if you're an engineer, you are a computer scientist, you are anything in the STEM, and not just STEM, I'm saying this,
Yeah.
even in the arts,
Yeah.
really, Africa is a virgin land, nothing has been
Yes.
covered,
Yeah.
nothing has been made, not a lot of things or systems have been made yet.
Yeah. So yeah, it's true. And there are certain things that people can go into that, I mean, like little capital can go a long way.
Like farming,
As compared to like farming, for
I
example.
never thought about farming, but I found myself doing farming. I and my brother, uh, we have a farm in Uganda.
Great.
And, we have this farm and we're thinking, oh, we should grow this or grow that. And, none of us have any deep experience in farming.
Yeah.
But, we managed to get the right people to start something. Next thing you know, things are growing on the ground.
I remember, despite the war, when my parents, our parents, when they came over to Kenya, they were able to make some sustenance, and we still lived a happy life. You had your meals, and you had your school, and you had your clothes and all that. They still made that happen, even despite the fact that we were refugees in Kenya.
Yeah.
But now in Canada, do you find it the same? Like, I mean, why is it that in Canada, even though you might have gone to school here, that you still, I mean, maybe for you it's a different issue, but I know friends who are still, or colleagues who, still basically living under, myself perhaps even included, still living under circumstances where you feel like it's hard to survive when you thought it would be easier. Like it's hard to survive, and you're a full citizen.
Yes. Yeah. People don't know this. Like if you're,
I mean, in Nairobi, there was not even jobs, but you still survived.
yes. In Nairobi, I think, my mom, for example, we help her do a business in peanut butter.
Yeah, peanut butter.
She would bring the peanuts. We would help her roast the peanut. We would roast the peanut, and we would take off the cover, and we would help her grind it, and she would sell that. And sometimes we help her with that too. She would sell that. That's how a lot of people survived. And she would do tie and dye.
Yeah, tie and dye.
And those are some of the things helped us survive in Nairobi as refugees. Yeah. But here, that this is tough. Especially people don't know this, but if you're earning above a certain amount of money in Canada, above, let's say, above 60K, you're going to be paying a lot of tax.
A lot, yes.
Talking, I don't know, 30% more, And you're earning even more, you'll be looking at paying 45% tax.
Yes.
This is just tax. That money, you don't see that money. And then there's money that come out of your pocket from bills. If you have a mortgage, the average mortgage right now in Ontario is $3,500.
Just look at that, yeah.
So how much money do you think that person has to earn to
make that
pay $3,500 a month
and still be able to spend on other things?
Yes, not just a mortgage. They need to spend on insurance. They need to, for the house, insurance for the house. insurance for their car. They need to spend on gas money. Gas is expensive too. And grocery. These days, when I go to pick up grocery, I come up with 3 bags, and that's $300.
Yeah, just look at that.
Yeah, 3 bags like this. I'm carrying. Last time I just looked at it, I shook my head.
Yeah.
Yeah, meat, small piece of meat like this in freaking plastic container.
Yeah.
In meat for you.
Yeah.
$20.
Yeah, and you have exactly
20 bucks.
Yeah.
You know, I never liked the fact that they have to put the meat in there. I always like going to the butcher
and have they actually cut it for you, just
and telling the butcher, hey, you know, can you cut from here? And the butcher
from here, and you know exactly what you're getting,
weighing it for you, and you know precisely what you're getting.
What you're getting,
how much. The one here, you're going to a supermarket, and you get it is already packed for you, and they say the weight there. But I always don't trust that. I always say, what if you just fake the weight?
Yeah, and it's like you're paying for packaging, really. Sometimes.
Yeah, you're pretty much paying for packaging.
Because the way it's packaged is just like making it fancy for no reason.
And the chicken has no taste here too.
No.
The chicken tastes like cardboard.
Yeah, that's why I eat a lot of. I mean, if I had the choice, I would prefer to eat more vegetables than than meat.
You need a lot of spices to make it spicy, to make it taste good.
Yeah.
I was in Juba. I gained weight when I was in Juba, but it was not it was a health. I became muscular.
Muscular, not just fat.
I gained muscles.
Yeah, a lot of muscle.
Big. I became bigger with muscles. Why?
Yeah.
I was eating organic.
Yeah.
I was eating real organic food.
Yeah.
I wasn't working out. I was not going to the gym.
No.
Just the heat and the food and whatever just got me to that level.
Yeah.
You know.
So speaking of the heat and all that, when you get up there, you find that the sun is up from like 6 o'clock or 5 o'clock. 6 o'clock, the sun is up. And it's always up until about 6 o'clock again. It's up, so your sun is basically there for at least 12 hours, of nice sunshine. That makes a difference in productivity for me.
Yes, it does. Yeah,
that's one of the things that makes me feel like, you know, like when I wake up back home, it's like you want to do something. You know, you don't want to sleep; you just want to wake up. But when I
was in Juba, it was like, man, I wanted to do every day. I woke up like this at 6, like I had my breakfast. And I always had that coffee they call the Jebena. The Jebena coffee, which is like a nice coffee made with ginger and some herbs. And I drank that and I ate full with it.
The full, yes.
Peanut. And I would right away go. And look for there was always something to do. Yes, there was really.
See, that's the kind of life I would like to do, you know, to live, you know.
Yes, yeah.
Feel like you want to wake up, just compared to continuing to sleep. Like I sleep a lot these days, and I don't like that.
Yeah, no, if you're doing that, then that's definitely not good. You'd have to find purpose in your life, because as men. You know, if we don't have purposes, it's really depressing.
Very depressing.
Yeah. That is what got me to get a one-way ticket to to Africa, man, and go with only $500.
I think the only thing that has really held me here, it's, to be honest, if it was not for my son, I probably would not have been. I'm sure I would not have been here right now speaking with you.
That's the same with me.
I would not have been speaking with you.
I'm staying here, because yes, I have boys. You know, of course, my job is pretty fulfilling. What I do is you know, I like to work. I work with big business. And they have very challenging problems that keep me on toes. Sometimes, you know, I work sometimes 14 hours, 16 hours.
Yeah.
Sometimes it happens.
And you are enjoying it.
I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying it.
Yeah.
But at the same time, when I think about a lot of the things that I could be doing back home, that hurts. It's like it's like oh man, you're probably wasting some time here. You need to be doing this and that. So many problems to solve. So many problems when you're thinking as an entrepreneur.
Yeah, I look at the opportunity. I mean, just like the story you're telling me about our friend in back home who owns bars and things like that.
Yes.
And now I see a lot of other people who are, into agriculture.
Yes.
And I'm just thinking that's where the opportunity is. I wish a bank would give me the money here and say, just go and invest this money there. I wish they would trust me to go and invest their money there. I don't know how I can convince a bank to give me the money.
I'll tell you a story of what happened to one guy. He was, I think he was in Toronto or something like that, or Calgary. I can't quite remember well, but he got a second mortgage on his house, right? So like a loan, against his house. The bank gave him like $80,000. At that time, he was Juba. That was around the same time I went to Juba, around 2010. And he left for Juba with that $80,000. And he went in there, bought some land, built an office complex.
Oh, nice.
And then within a short time, NGO came. The NGO basically decided to rent the place. And they paid upfront for 5 years. Upfront.
Nice.
And this guy, within 6 months, this guy paid off the bank loan in Canada and had more money to start other projects.
Amazing.
Yes. And the bank was surprised and shocked, like, what? He paid off $80,000 in 6 months. Done.
6 months,
Yes.
So short deal,
yeah, if you had that kind of opportunity, man, you don't need to go into your line of study. The way I see it is that the whole point of education really is to make you think of ways to solve problems.
It
doesn't matter if you did arts or you did STEM. The whole point is to make you think about a solution,
right,
and present that solution either to people or do it yourself.
Yes.
So if you did like political science, you went home and you're doing, and now you decided to do farming. The whole point, or whatever it is you studied, helps you to think critically. About how to solve even problems in farming. You will find that you need to solve problems about people. People have different, you need to hire people.
Right.
You need to gauge their character and find out who they are before you hire them to work for you.
Yes.
And it's not just that, you need to build relationships. You learn that in all of your education life. You've at least learned how to build certain professional relationships,
True.
So I honestly think, the future is bright in Africa.
So that's where the future is then. The future is with all this roaming, we're talking about roaming routes, having moved around. Eventually the future is back where it all started, right?
Yes. The future eventually is all back where your roots are.
Where your roots are.
Yes.